What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and we're back in the truck. So only means one of two things, and I don't really know what the second thing is. It means we're getting another bike. We are literally on the road to go buy another bike, and I know I have another bike at home that I have yet to even start on, little on finish or whatever, but it's no secret that I'm getting really into these things, these FXRs, and I am picking up another one, and I just like with the yellow bike, I'm hoping that it's as clean as the gentleman says it is. It's a special bike. It's got a lot of uniqueness to it, and Justin hates it because Justin can care less about factory uniqueness. He likes to put his own touch on it, and this bike is not getting touched. I'm going to do my best to try to keep it as original as possible. We'll see what happens. Anyways, at the end of this video, what I plan on doing is once we get the bike loaded up, I'm going to go over some details about this motorcycle, because as you guys know, I have a Sport and I have just your standard FXR-S lowrider. So this bike is neither one of those. This is a whole different model of FXR. Between the years, there's model variations, and the definitions of the model change between years and stuff like that. So with what I'm getting, I'm gonna go over what the bike is, obviously, when I pick it up, but I'm also gonna go over some of the differences between the three bikes that I have or will have if this deal goes right. We're gonna go over those details and let you know why this bike is so special, not just for the model that it is, but you'll see. I'm sure some of you guys, if you're really into the FXRs, you guys have kind of caught wind of a few guys with the 101s and the 1s of 2s and the 1 of 3s. This bike is one of those, and giving you that little hint, you know why it's that way. So either way, we still got, I'm still driving for another 6.5 hours. It's gonna be well to the night by the time I get there. I know I look like crap. I literally just got off work and jumped in my truck and head out. So Justin is at home right now. Him and Hudson have started on the FXR twin cam. So there are, Hudson pressure washed the frame, cleaned it up real good, degreased it, and they're cutting and hopefully welding in the FXR division pieces as we speak. Well, not as we speak, but this weekend. So get ready for that video if it doesn't drop before this video. And then that bike is full throttle till Daytona, or till Sturgis. This bike that I got, I'm gonna make a couple videos with it, but this bike is pretty much, when I pick it up, it's the bike. It's gonna be the way it is, and I'm super happy for it. So thank you guys for tagging along, and I look forward to bringing another one home. I hope you guys are too. So here we go. Woo! All right, so I just made a quick stop to get one of my favorite places to eat when I'm here in the South, and that's Crystal's. So argue me in the comments all you want. Crystal beats White Castle 9 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10. We'll go 10 times out of 10. I've been to some bad Crystals, and this might be one of them, because I wanted to eat inside and the doors were locked, and it's kind of a little grimy here. I think I'm like 100 miles outside of Nashville. Either way, we're gonna get some food, keep on trucking. I'm telling you, man, so much better than White Castle. Little steam burgers. If you never had a White Castle or Crystals, you're missing out. But if you get the choice between the two, Crystals every time. Just nothing like it. All right, back on the road. All right, what's up, everybody? It's the next morning, and got a little sleep last night. Got into Chattanooga probably around 11 o'clock, I think it was. So it is 7:25. He's supposed to be here at 7:30. We're actually at a storage unit. I guess that's where he keeps the bikes at, and we're gonna see this thing for the first time. Obviously, I've seen pictures of it, but this will be the first time in person. I'm excited. I'm tired, but I'm excited. And we're going to get this bike loaded up. What did I say? It was like a 7-hour drive. I am going to stop by the local Harley shop and a couple of little things while I'm in town. So I'll probably get home. I don't know. I don't want to put a time on it, but I'll get home before it's dark, and then we'll get the bike unloaded, kind of do another little walk around, maybe even take it down the block, kind of go from there. So anyways, I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm getting excited. Hope you guys are too. Yes, sir. How's it going?
Hey,
nice meeting you. It's definitely peach. Yeah. All right, kind of recording my phone, so it's a little weird, but here it is, 1991 FXR convertible. When I get home, I'll go over, like I was saying earlier in the video, I'll let you guys know kind of what a convertible from the other bikes that I have, what the differences of all those are. This bike is very rare. This color is it's called Pearl Peach. It's hard to see it right now. Maybe you can see it a little bit, but it has like a small amount of pearl and then the turquoise stripe. According to the FXR Bazaar book, this is only one of 2 convertibles painted in this color, and it's one of 6 total FXRs painted in this peach color. Now, when Harley Davidson does these custom colors, they come up with this decal, and that decal will be on all the models. So unlike their standard colors, their blacks and their reds and their blues, and they have a decal specific to a Softail or FXR or Sportster, when they do these kind of special colors, these special paints, those decals will be on every model. So a Fat Boy will have that same decal, Softail Springer, a Sportster, if someone chose to order a Sportster in this color, they would all have that same decal. So it's very unique, and it's very hard to kind of, like I said, find these bikes, because a lot of these cheaper bikes, people didn't opt for the additional cost of what it took to get the custom color. Back in the 90s, you had to wait on these bikes, and they usually took sometimes up to a year, and then when you added a custom color on it, sometimes it would make it take even longer, not counting just the price. So a lot of people just said, no, I'm getting a cheap bike, I just want it to stay cheap and get it as is, and they wouldn't get it. Whoever ordered this bike definitely wanted something a little more unique. Man, look, yeah, you can see it really good in the sun right there. It's definitely popping. So it does have a couple little rock chips. We're going to get those addressed. You know, the bags, everything else is super clean on this bike. It doesn't leak anything. I'm gonna have to touch the motor up a little bit, a little bit of the paint, but that's to be expected on a 1991 bike. These, from what Andy was telling me, these were painted and not powder coat, so that's why the 90s you see a lot more chipping, and then the early 2000s and stuff like that, those motors definitely hold up a lot better. And maybe the base gaskets are leaking just a little bit. It's a little wet, but like the bike doesn't get ridden much, so maybe after a few cycles, everything will kind of seal up a little better. We're gonna get this thing loaded up. We're gonna get on the road, and like I said, I'm gonna try to get this thing unloaded, let my wife kind of take it around the block with me while I'm on the blue one, and kind of see both these bikes together. I promised the previous owner that I would send him a photo of all that, so get back on here and kind of go over some more things. All right, so we got the bike all loaded up, but actually pretty much anytime that I visit a town or whatever, I always stop by the local Harley Davidson dealership, so just to walk around, see if maybe there's anything that I need or want. That's how I kind of discovered that in Jackson, Mississippi, that dealership actually has like a lot of old 90s NOS parts, and there's other dealerships that I've seen that's had some really, really cool stuff still on the shelves. So I don't know how long this dealership's been here. It's White Lightning, I think is the name. White Lightning. It's here in Chattanooga. So we're gonna step in here, just kind of look around, maybe grab a poker chip, and then we get on the road. Like I said, it's a little over 7 hours, get back home. You definitely want to stay to the end, because if you're looking to be an FXR guru, or you're looking into buying an FXR, I'm going to kind of help you decide on which FXR model is best for you, because they're not all equal. Anyways, we're going to walk in here, walk around, and then hit the road. All right, so I stepped inside White Lightning Harley, and actually they have a really good selection of performance parts here in kind of, I guess, southern Tennessee. But they actually are carrying, they got a lot of Pan Am stuff. But look who you see. We got some bare knuckle products here in stock. They got risers, a bunch of other cool stuff. And then actually got a bunch of like Lindell rotors, Arlen Ness, obviously Leather Pros, Legends. I mean, this is kind of like a really good spot for anyone that's in the area. If you're needing some parts or whatever, these guys definitely have quite a bit of stuff for your Softail, bagger, whatever. I mean, tons of handlebars. It's actually a really cool shop. I'm pretty stoked. I mean, their inventory of motorcycles is phenomenal. I guess they're hosting a club style event here next weekend, so it's gonna be a good time. It's just crazy to come into a Harley shop and see a bunch of like actual cool products. All your NAMS wiring. I mean, they sell Harley Davidson wiring, but they're actually carrying the NAMS stuff too. So stuff like that, just it's cool. I wanted to give them a shout out, kind of show you guys that. So if you're ever in Chattanooga, or if you're driving through this area off I-75-ish, not too far, but they definitely have a bunch of cool stuff in stock, and swing by and check it out for yourself. So anyways, we're jumping in the truck and heading home. All right, what's up, guys? It's the next day. I got the bike all washed up, and like I said earlier in the video, or yesterday, I was going to kind of go over some of the details between the different 1991 models, or FXRs in general, but
mostly pertaining to the 1991s, because throughout the FXR lineup, every model kind of had some changes throughout. So what might have been on a 1987 Super Glide ain't going to be on a 1991 Super Glide, et cetera, et cetera. So either way, what we're looking at, we got a pair of 1991 FXRs here. So this is, like I said, this is the 1991 FXRS, and this, of course, is a 1991 convertible. I have taken the windshield and the bags off this bike to try to help with cleaning it, but these bikes did come factory with a windshield, bags, unlike this bike. So basically, in 1991, Harley-Davidson had 6 FXRs that they offered to the public, not counting the RP, the police model. And of those 6 models was the Super Glide, obviously the Lowrider, the Lowrider Sport, the convertible, the Sport Glide, and an FXLR, which was their, I think they called it like the Lowrider Custom or something. It had the 21-inch wheel and the solid rear wheel. So starting at the bottom of the line, obviously your Super Glide. Those are pretty bare bones. They came factory with buckhorn bars. They did have a center fill tank. However, the tank did not, or they did not have the gauges up on the bars. They had a single speedometer on the tank. Had like a really kind of cool dash. A lot of people really like that in today's kind of market. Had a single front brake, single disc front brake, and it also had a cast aluminum lower tree. Did have the aluminum top tree, but it was a cast aluminum lower tree. The motor came blonde, no backrest, no highway pegs. It did have mags, so all of the FXR models in 1991 did come with mag wheels, except for the FXLR, which had the 21 spoke and the 16-inch solid kind of fat boy style wheel. Going from the Super Glide, we're going to go up to this model. So obviously I've changed a lot on this, but from the factory, this bike was supposed to have a single front brake. Still had a speedometer like the Super Glide on the dash, but they also added the tack, which adding the tack took away the ability to fill the tank from the center. So they ended up coming up with the dual pod tanks. I don't know what all models prior to this one had the dual caps. The gauge is in one cap, and then obviously you fill with the other cap. Not a very sought after gas tank, I would say. Kind of one of the reasons I was really looking for a convertible. I do like the center fill tank, but this paint scheme and just the bike overall was clean. FXRS, like this one does come factory with a black motor. Obviously I've two-toned the motor, but it comes with the black with the silver fins. Mag wheels again. This bike did come from the factory with the highway pegs. I believe, quote me if I'm wrong, I don't remember if this standard did come with a backrest or not, but it was supposed to have buckhorns from the factory, no windshield, just kind of a entry level up from the Super Glide, if you will. So that's what this bike right here was. Obviously, I've changed a few things. I put the dual brakes on it to kind of make it more like this. I've lifted the suspension, little things like that. Still, it's very close to what it was original as far as paint and the bodywork and all that kind of stuff. The next tier up, obviously, is going to be the Lowrider Sport, and that's when they went ahead, just like my 87 that's in there, that's what that model of bike is. They went to the dual front brakes. With the dual front brakes, they went with the center fill tank, put the gauges up high, but it actually had a set of lower bars, kind of like these bends, like a lot of the popular bends of today. But those bars were a little more unique because the bike actually had what they call an anti-dive front suspension, which this bike has, so I can be able to show you guys on this. But basically, you filled up air through your handlebars, believe it or not. It would go into the fork tubes, and it would kind of stiffen and soften up your ride based on your comfort level. Also with that, the Sport model did have a little bit taller suspension, so I think it had almost an extra inch of ground clearance total. It had 13.5-inch shocks on the back, I believe, from the factory. It also had, like I said, the dual brakes. The Sport model did not come with the highway pegs because it was meant more for like the twisties and stuff. So it did have mid controls, no highway pegs. I do not believe it came with a backrest either. And that kind of wraps up the Sport. A lot of things that this bike has, it's like a marriage between the two of them. Then from the Sport, you move up to this model right here. So this model right here is what they call the convertible. I'm assuming the definition of convertible just means that the bags and the windshield came off, within minutes. They had the little knobs, they come right off. Same thing with the windshield. It's very quick disconnect, if you will. So you can just pop those off and put them right back on, kind of like a convertible top where it goes up and down. This bike shares the same suspension as the Sport from what I've read. It's got the anti-dive front suspension. Obviously, this particular bike, someone has gone and changed the rear shocks to a little bit lower shock, and I believe they changed the kickstand because this thing actually has a lot of lean. Both those actually got changed out as well. Another thing with the convertible, dual front brakes, center fill tank, tack and gauge up here on the dash. This bike, someone added the floorboards. It came just with standard mid controls and highway pegs. I kind of like them. I think it's kind of cool. It's a little different. I know Andy at Howland Cycles loves floorboards. He puts them on all his bikes. If I don't like this, I'm sure he's got an FXR laying around that I could trade him. Some nice mint floorboards for a set of mid controls. Aside from that, backrest. This one obviously is a lot taller than what it should have had from the factory, but these bikes did come with a backrest. the buckhorn bars, and that same anti-dive front suspension. The seats on these bikes, they're on a hinge from the factory, and when you lift it up, there's a little sticker on the fender that says air suspension. So if your bike was a factory equipped, whether it had rear or front, it should have that sticker, and it gives you all the like PSI limitations as far as maximum air boundaries and everything to keep it within. From the convertible, you go up to the next bike, which is actually the Sport Glide. And like I said, that's gonna have your clamshell bags, saddle bags, and like the FXR, you know, T and style fairing that you see a lot of guys running on their Softails, Road Kings, whatever. That actually still carried into the 1991 year as a Sport Glide though. Tall suspension still, same suspension, the same air dive, but I believe on that model it actually had air rear shocks, a little different from this bike. And then of course the FXLR, like I said, it's a very unique tank specifically to that model. It does have in 1991 they did a speedometer only, and it was mounted on the one-piece handlebars. I think the earlier models, and like I said, I'm not an FXR guru, so please, 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 in the comments, if I say something wrong, correct me, because I'm here to learn. I'm just kind of giving the information that I know out to you guys. I think the earlier FXLRs did have both the tach, or the speedometer and the tach mounted on the bars, but I do know in 1991 it was just a speedometer only, so no tach. 39 mil front end, all that kind of stuff was the same. The FXLR is back to a single front brake. It's a single-sided gas tank with just the one gas cap on one side, kind of offset, not in the center, but it is just nothing else is on the dash. It's got like a little leather strip, looks really cool. And those bikes sit a little lower. The seat's different. I mean, everything to an FXLR is specific to an FXLR. That leads us to this bike right here. So as far as this bike goes, I told you guys earlier in the video, this is a one of two paint schemes. Harley-Davidson obviously did a bunch of custom paints, and you can order them from the factory. My dad did a couple back in the 90s. It costs a lot of money, and when you're buying a cheap bike, a lot of people didn't opt for the extra $1,200 or whatever it costs to get these unique paint jobs. But to those that did, it really make these bikes very, very special. And like I said, this bike is a one of two FXR convertible painted in this color. However, out of all the FXR models, this is only one of 6. So there was only 4 other FXRs from what I read, 6 or 7. I'll have to look at the numbers again. But from what I read, just a very, very small handful of bikes were painted in this color, and the chances of you running into another one it's almost like winning the lottery in some cases. So the other bike to this could been repainted with flames, or it could have been totaled, or it could just be sitting in some guy's basement rotting away, who knows. But if you guys have ever seen this color or seen a bike like this color, please shoot me a photo of it on Instagram. I would love to see more of these. I'm keeping this bike. This bike ain't going nowhere, which leads me to the Sport that is in the garage. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, because looking at this bike, it does need some work. It's not perfect. It's almost there, but it's not perfect. It's got a few chips in the paint. It's got some chrome that's got some tarnishing on it. The motor's got a couple little leaks. Tires are about 10 years old, even though they got a ton of tread. They are kind of old, so I might switch those out. Like I said, the rear shocks have been changed and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly how far I'm gonna go with this thing, but I definitely know that I want to do some work to this and have this to be a very, very, not just reliable bike, but a cool bike that when I pull up somewhere, not only is the paint going to turn heads, but the bike itself is going to turn heads. I love this bike right here. This bike is going to go nowhere as well. There's still some things that I need to do to this. We got the bag rails back from Powder Coat, so the RP saddlebags will go on this bike along with a little backrest. But this bike, I'm really going to sit down and think about what I want to do with this. I don't know if I want to keep the 2 and a 2 exhaust. I don't know if I want to, do a thunder header or, suspension, and I don't know. So, and then that again leads me to what do I do with the Sport that's in the garage. I had a lot of plans for that bike. Unfortunately, I don't have the kind of money to build 3 bikes, and this thing being so close to where I want it, I know I'm about to probably put this bike on the lift and get started on it. It's just going to push that bike further back. So I really got a lot of thinking to do in the next week or two and try to figure out what's going on with these things. But aside from that, I'd love to hear you guys' opinions, what you guys think. Do you think I got a good bike? I mean, do you like the color? Do you think it's stupid? It's definitely bright, and unfortunately the sun isn't cooperating today, but man, it does have a nice pearl in it, and it looks really, really sharp. It cleaned up really well, but like I said, it does still need a little bit more polishing, if you will, some more little detail here and there to just look that much better. Either way, I'm stoked, man. I'm loving this. I'm loving learning. I'm loving the wrenching on these things. I love being the caretaker of this bike. I've always loved the unique stuff. I've had a lot of Softails and other models that have had special paint jobs, but I've never had one this rare, and it's pretty incredible to be looking at it and to see it, beside this bike, because it's almost like a his and hers kind of thing. My wife is definitely going to be on this bike from time to time. I'm hoping that she actually attends the FXR tour and wants to ride this bike rather than her Softail, but it's up to her. We'll see. Either way, I just wanted to kind of give you guys that information. Hopefully it helps y'all out understanding these FXR models a little bit when you see the word convertible or sport or super glide or any of that kind of stuff. Hopefully it gives you a little better understanding on it and lets you know that there are there are differences between each model, and that sometimes reflects the price. So when someone wants to complain online and say, man, I bought my 92 FXR for, you know, whatever price, well, what model was it? If it was a Super Glide, congratulations, you got a good deal, or you know, paid fair price for it. But if it's a convertible, don't expect someone to pay Super Glide prices for a convertible, especially when it has the windshield and the saddlebags, because that stuff's getting harder and harder to find. And someone like me, when I see the original air cleaner still on a bike that's not tore up and messed up, I get excited, man, because that thing's been on this bike for 33 years now. Yeah, 33 years. It's still there, just like the paint, just like the saddlebags, just like the windshield. And it's very easy, especially in the 90s, for people to strip a lot of that stuff off, put their own taste on it, and then throw that stuff away. So I'm excited for this bike. I'm excited to get it to the point where I can actually start riding it. This thing is still coming with me to Illinois. So for those that are coming up to the Club Style Illinois kickoff season party, season opener, so whoever's coming up there for this party, this bike will be with me. Like I said, we're going to get the saddlebags on, get it ready to go, and enjoy it. So thank you so much for tagging along. This has been what the channel is all about. Me and Justin, when we came up with the idea to do this channel, it wasn't to necessarily make money or sell product. We wanted to pass along information, and me passing along information to you guys has made me also want to learn for myself, because had it not been for this channel and it had not been for the, you know, wanting to produce not just content, but to really be involved in something that I'm passionate about, I probably wouldn't be owning these two bikes, to be 100% real with you guys. I should say three bikes, because I got another FXR in the garage, but I probably would not be owning them. It's all because of you guys. You guys are motivating me to really dive in head first, and I'm loving it, man. I'm hoping you guys are too. So either way, I'm wrapping it up, and on the next episode, we're gonna work on something. We're gonna do something. I don't know just what yet. Maybe the saddlebags. Let's do the saddlebags next. So let's get that done, and then we'll start playing with this bike. So either way, thank you guys, and we'll see you then. Peace.